lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a thrilling night of virtual racing action here on iRacing. I'm Dave Riegel, and momentarily will be joining me in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth will be Mr. Jordan Brockel, and we're excited to bring you all the live coverage from the legendary Texas Motor Speedway. Tonight, the Racers Elite Cup Series promises to be a showcase of skill, strategy, sheer speed, and some of the best sim racers from around the world as they go head-to-head in this highly competitive environment. iRacing is where the virtual meets the real, offering an incredibly immersive experience that mirrors the intensity and precision of actual motorsports. The drivers have put in countless hours of practice, perfecting every turn and mastering the art of virtual racing. The track is digitally rendered to perfection, capturing every bump, curve, and straightaway, setting the stage for what promises to be an electrifying race. We'll be bringing you all the action from start to finish, including expert analysis, driver interviews, and in-depth commentary on the strategies at play. From daring overtakes to split-second decisions, every moment counts, and we'll be here to guide you through it all, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, glad to have all of you with us tonight as you get tuned in over here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening, for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. We want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight as the Racers Elite Cup Series now gets into the rest of the regular season, that is, here at Texas Motor Speedway. 1.46 miles around this quad oval, 84 degrees if you're in the stands and the bleachers here on the front stretch. And of course, you can see that big screen TV on the back stretch because, as they say, everything is bigger in Texas. 86 degrees the track temperature, so there's going to be plenty of grip, which should take the speeds up and the times down as we boogie around this piece. Just one driver hasn't made his qualifying effort yet, and that's Jacob Plank in the number 35. And last week was absolutely a barn burner at Daytona, as my broadcast partner Jonathan Leach is now sliding into the broadcast booth, as it looks like he'll be filling in for Jordan Brockel for the time being as we get underway. Just a few minutes left here in qualifying, so we want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity. Jonathan, welcome into the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth.
Hi, Dave. Welcome to be here. Sorry, you're putting me on the spot. I certainly didn't think I was filling in, but I guess I'm filling in now. Jordan's on another show. I think we might have got people crossed up, but we'll fix that on the way. But, Texas, huh? Texas is a great racetrack, and I'm a little bit jealous that I'm not on track.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite racetracks of all time. The racing is incredible. Of course, we're always looking for those drivers to try to pass on the grass on the quad oval. And this place, of course, also has many different layouts. And tonight, of course, it's our quote-unquote stock car traditional layout here. So, all things considered, it's an exciting night here at Texas Motor Speedway. Last week at Daytona International Speedway, Jason Burdick brought home the checkered flag after it took 83 laps, so we had a green-white checker event there. But, Jonathan, you missed a great race at Daytona last week.
Yeah, I expected that, unfortunately. I mean, Racers Elite never disappoints with anything that we are doing. I'm still going to consider myself a league racer. But, there was a bit of a merger last season between another league and Racers Elite. It helped boost the numbers going into the playoffs. And just about everybody that came in was a quality driver. And, that's really going to help the competition level out. I'm looking forward to being back sometime in August, driving-wise. But I guess here now to help for the time being.
Yeah, it's not very often that you and I get to work together, so this is kind of exciting for me. I wasn't expecting to see your name pop up when I heard the Discord notification, but here you are, and here we are taking a look here at our qualifying results as qualifying just wrapping up, waiting for everything to shake itself down here. As we get ready to grid up here, drivers already hitting the race button to get themselves into the cockpit here of their racing machines. We're still waiting on our pole sitter. Actually, both of the drivers on the front row. There's Shay Cox here in the 007. And there's Kensley Smith in the number 15. And it looks like he's driving the Aaron's Dream machine tonight. As we pull up that driver info, as we always do, out of Tarboro, North Carolina, our pole sitter going to be Kensley Smith, and he'll be joined in the front row by Shay Cox. Bryce Hunter and James Malloy going to be in row number 2, while Kirby Wainscott out of Sparta, Kentucky, and Diego Rodriguez out of Adrian, Michigan, going to be in row number 3. Row 4 featuring Matt Schlosser out of Frederick, Maryland, and Alex Teft, the brother of our chief cook and bottle washer here from Hope Valley, Rhode Island, going to be starting on the outside of row number 4. Row 5 featuring Brandon Zimmerman out of Gloucester and Brendan Maddox. Truth Hoke in the 55 from Hickory, North Carolina, and Andrew Teft, our chief cook and bottle washer here in the Racers Elite Series in the 98, going to be starting in 12th position. Aaron Marquis and Troy Thomas going to be in row number 7, while Marshall Harris and Dennis Kane occupy row number 8. Row 9 going to feature Kevin Stone out of Mooresville, North Carolina, and Jared Haynes from Huntsville, Alabama, with Jason Burdick, our winner from last week, and John Ashby, no relation to Andy Ashby, in row number 10. Starting in 21st, going to be Paul Shaw out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Of course, we say Bethlehem in broadcasting, but it's Bethlehem if you're from here. while William Schwindenhammer from Colorado Springs is going to be starting in 22nd. 23rd and 24th going to be Curtis Ecker, and of course our man behind the scenes here at Sim Racing Media, Alan Bergen, who just does an absolute bang-up job with everything that we do behind the scenes. Going to be starting in 24th, and shotgun on the field belongs to Jacob Plank in the number 35 Ford Mustang.
Like a pretty full field tonight, Dave. Not anything less than I would expect from Racers Elite, and Texas. Just looking forward to Texas. Under the lights, my favorite way to race in this series, or any series for that matter. It's like again a full field. Going to be fast speeds, a lot of grip. Tires will come into play, but speeds are still going to be pretty quick.
Yeah, with that sun down and the track temperature down, the speeds are going to come up, the times are going to drop. The iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down pit road, and the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor to adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some biscuit, call a friend, settle in, race fans. It's showtime! 3 wide already behind Kensley Smith as the green flag drops.
That's just the way Texas works, especially with the repave on it. It fans out. It's like an auto club in a sense, but it's got a lot more grip than auto club, so not surprised to see action early.
Taking a look here at Diego Rodriguez, already shooting right past Matt Schlosser in the 400. He's creeping up here on the 84 of James Malloy in the target machine. And right now, as we go on board with Diego Rodriguez, he's already basically going to be putting a target right here on the rear bumper of that target machine. A little Coca-Cola flavor there. He's already tightening up, so obviously maybe needs to back that entry into 1 up just a little bit. And that's one of the toughest things here, is we're already under caution.
It's quick caution. However, what I want to mention is 105 laps, this race should go pretty quick. Lap times are around the 29-second range, possibly faster underneath the lights. So it should be a quick race. They'll get things settled out quickly. Again, new season to the league, handful of new drivers. These guys are going to have to fill each other out on the more cookie-cutter racing surfaces. Daytona, Talladega, super speedways. Those guys are a little more, I don't want to call them a gimme, but just a different style of racing. When you get on these more cookie-cutter tracks, you got to start to figure out your level of competition around you, what kind of move they may or may not make, and it's just kind of, I don't want to call it a respect thing, but you got to feel everything out, and usually it takes a couple races.
It does, and we're taking a look right now from Jason Burdick's perspective. Of course, John Ashby, I keep trying to say Andy Ashby, he's a baseball player, but we see the 88 here of John Ashby getting loose just in front of the 23 of Jason Burdick. And boom goes the proverbial dynamite as we look out the rear now of Jason Burdick, and Ashby is just spinning helplessly down the racetrack. Kensley Smith had just laid fast time down at 31.40 seconds even, and it looks like Jordan Braukel has just trotted up here into the booth.
Yeah, I was just talking to him, and he worked it out to have him come in and join this booth team here, and honestly, maybe I should have just raced then in that case. As we're getting drivers, caution 1, 25 guys. Expect that to calm down here pretty quick. So far, best lap time, 31:40, slower than I expected. But, this car's really not up to speed, really not utilizing the draft just yet. So expect those times to decrease as this race goes forward.
Yeah, to your point, John, I mean, it usually here at Texas, it takes about 5 to 7 laps before those tires are fully heated and you start to see those speeds really come into play here. And, Texas is a very unique racetrack where it's wide and it's sweeping, in the turns. And 1 and 2 drives very differently from 3 and 4. 1 and 2, you almost have to be in that middle groove to, basically to keep the car free enough to rotate. And in 3 and 4, on your entry into 3, you've got to be almost down on that white line to roll through that corner and make your exit safely. Because what happens is if you set yourself up in that mid groove, just above that seam here to the right of the cars coming out of turn 4 now, you wind up kissing the wall and kind of getting yourself a Darlington stripe. So, now we're going to have to wait another few laps until these tires really start to come in and do what they're designed for.
Yeah, well, looking forward to see that. Look at these 4 machines right here in front of us. You got Pioneers, Target, of course, hail to the victors from Michigan, Diego Rodriguez, 4th place, number 20 machine. He is a driver out of Michigan, so kind of cool to see that for him. And then the 65 right behind him, another cool scheme. No shortage of outstanding paint schemes in this racing league. There's always a pretty nifty design. These guys got good painters on hand, on deck, or you could say, and some of these guys paint their own cars themselves. Again, 25 car field. Nice to see drivers. You know, we got Alan Bergen in 17th, another SRM notable, Troy Thomas. He's in the back, 24th. But I race with him. Give him some time. He'll be a mid-pack car or better by the halfway point of this event.
You know, he told me that he was going to do something special with his paint scheme tonight, and it only makes sense that you're going to paint your car this way. Take a look at Alan Bergen right here in the 00. He has decided to put the 5-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys on the side of this Chevrolet Camaro, and quite frankly, I think he needs to stick with it tonight.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not pictured in on that machine of his, so I couldn't tell you. Oh, there we go. Since when was Alan a Cowboys fan? I feel like he always threw shade at us. Question mark?
I mean, everybody throws shade at Cowboys fans, quite frankly. I mean, Alan, I guess, wants to play up to the home fans here in the stands. Of course, we're only a short drive away from Arlington, Virginia, Arlington, Texas, also known as Jerry World, where the $2.2 billion Cowboys complex resides. Nothing like being the second most valuable brand or third most valuable brand in the world.
You think they are the most? I think they've taken the top spot.
It goes Manchester United, the New York Yankees, and the Dallas Cowboys.
Really? I thought they at least got past the Yankees, but no big deal. I'm sure you looked it up before we got here. That's how you do. So getting ready to go back to racing. Jordan's in the booth now, ready to go, as we'll be coming back to green. You know, what is it, about 9-10 laps in? I'm sorry, I'm not staring at that right this moment. Lap 6. Thank you very much. My timing doesn't show me that one. So going back to racing, lap 6, Jordan, what you need to know is these guys are running about 31.5-second lap times. There's a lot of grip. There's about 2 1/4 lanes here. 25 cars are the field, and there's some new names that these guys aren't used to yet. So it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, of course, Jordan, the hardest one, by the end of the night, I want you to be able to say Schwindenhammer without blinking.
Yeah, I'll definitely do my best on that as these boys start to creep towards that restart zone. Kinsley Smith going to fire off and head down into turn 1. You know, I was a little bit appalled when I got here. You know, I'm starting to hear all this Dallas Cowboy talk, and you know, I almost walked out the door for a second.
That's all right. You want to know what to do
you.
if a good team hit you in the face.
This is really more like an intervention. We would like you to drink the Kool-Aid. 3 wide is the 84, suddenly the meat in the sandwich with Diego Rodriguez, the high side. The 65 of Brandon Zimmerman works the low side. He's using a little bit of draft off of the 9. Now that's Bryce Hunter. Now Hunter here in the Pioneer number 9 being scored as the 29, so obviously his paint scheme is off. But all of a sudden, a battle has really blown out here, and Diego Rodriguez is leading the charge.
Yeah, certainly already 3 wide again right behind those guys, and some craziness already 8 laps into this thing.
We're going to go on board here with Matt Schlosser in the 400, and this is something incredible. As you're riding here through the quad oval, first off, you're on a darn near flat section of the racetrack coming through the quad oval. All of that weight is being transferred to the right side of every one of these cars, and it's dragging you to the outside. So these guys' hands are going to be busy, elbows up, while they haul it down here into turn 3.
Yeah, it definitely has an opportunity going through that little tri-oval there, the dog leg, you know, to kind of unsettle the car enough to where you start to feel a little bit of the rear end to kick out, and then if you try to, you know, overdrive it, you end up essentially spinning yourself out and nosing into the wall.
Now, John, you have a lot of seat time here in the Next Gen cars. What does that independent suspension give you advantage-wise as you roll through these corners and try to make these even in a fixed setup?
You know, it's tough to say that. I was listening last night to Shane talking about the racing. You know, in the Gen 6 car, you kind of try to drive it off the right rear tire. I didn't realize that at the time. But in this machine, you're a little bit more using that right front, so you're able to put a little bit more wheel into the car to get it to rotate. The rear end tends to just rotate a little bit better and a little bit quicker in this machine without the same amount of throttle input. So in the Gen 6, there have been times where you kind of throttle up quick to help make it turn. In this car, it just flows, and it likes to go with the track and follow the curve, the dynamic banking a little bit more so, and really kind of allows you to get a really great run out of the corner. Set the turn fast and get into the throttle a bit quicker than, say, the Gen 6 car.
Watching the 17 of Kevin Stone. Oh, he gets loose coming out of turn 2. He had set himself just a little bit too low, and you know, turns 1 and 2 here have literally the opposite effect that 3 and 4 do. As I had said earlier, in 3 and 4, if you don't set yourself up low enough, you're going to get loose coming out of 4. If you set yourself up too low coming into turn 1, you're going to get loose coming out of 2. It's a very technical racetrack to get around. You know, this is not the kind of place where you can lay your foot down on the floor and just let it roll. Matt Schlosser here in the 400 just laid fast time down at 29.89 seconds as he just straps on the hairnet and gets ready to serve lunch to Alex Teft.
Yeah, you see him kind of.
Now we did the same thing. We counted to 5 and we both went. But that lap time's closer to what I expected to see. And I'm going to take my leave here in just a couple moments as we get this race underway. Currently, you know, we're pushing for 4,000. We're going to have a big giveaway. Racers Elite has been a big part of that for subscribers here. We're 19 away, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do a big giveaway. Probably 4 or 5 shirts or hats, something like that's going to be given out. So if you don't mind helping us out, we'll probably do a live event at some point to give away some swag, and I promise it won't just say SRM on it, as Jordan is kind of our new designer, and he doesn't need to speak to anything, but just letting you guys know, we're 19 away. We really appreciate the help to 4,000 so we can keep bringing great racing to you guys.
And to your point, that 4,000 also is going to trigger it's basically going to trigger off a bet between myself and the driver of the 00, Alan Bergen, and I don't know if you've heard this yet, John, but when we hit 4,000, that particular Sunday night, whenever that happens, Alan Bergen will crack open a Yingling lager for the first time in his life and finally come to Jesus. Live on air.
Really? He hasn't had a Yingling? Wow. You know, I'm not a huge fan, but it's certainly a distinct taste and not a beer to turn down.
Well, he's basically a godless heathen down there in St. Louis, and we finally decided to bring him to the altar.
Well, whatever it takes, might as well go ahead and say that. You know, that could be a funny Facebook video to put out. We should do that. But anyway, I'm going to take my leave, boys. Thanks for being here, both of you. Jordan, thanks for jumping in short notice. And if you need me, I'm always only a phone call away.
John, as always, thank you for everything that you do here at Sim Racing Media. We literally could not do our jobs without you on the back end. And, of course, here at the microphone, so we thank you for your time tonight hanging out. And, well, that's pretty much the most time that John and I have spent on the microphone together, 18 laps for the entirety of 2024 so far. So we really need to schedule ourselves together at some point.
We'll see what we can do. Jordan, Dave, talk to you soon.
Well, Jordan, 18 laps in the books so far tonight, and, you know, once again, we see an incredible battle breaking out here. Whoa! What is this back here? You can't landscape this way. Look at them go, look at them go. They're going to hold it together. They point the right direction. That is the save of the day. Let's just run this one all the way back.
You know, and what's going to be unfortunate is those guys are going to get hit with a penalty, but, man, I wish you could just kind of nix that for them, because I mean that was an unbelievable save. I mean those guys, in my opinion, they were wrecked. I mean there was nothing doing there.
Let's take a look at this from the blimp cam's perspective. Now we see Schlosser and the 21 of Marshall Harris. Oy. They just kind of come together on the exit of turn 4 and almost mirror one another going through the grass. Talk about the save of the day. My goodness.
Yeah, and I mean that's an understatement because, like I said, those guys were practically wrecked, and I didn't see either one of those guys saving it. I definitely thought both of those cars were headed for that inside wall, of pit lane, and putting it on the hauler rather quickly.
Jordan Brockell joining Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight as we work lap number 21 of 105 live from Texas Motor Speedway. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, of course, and the help from, of course, Jonathan Leach, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so that you can be notified every time that we go live here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we were talking about some of the excitement that will happen when we hit that 4,000 number. So, folks, make sure that you get yourself subscribed here to Sim Racing Media. It only takes a second. We're not trying to sell you insurance. We're trying to sell you good old-fashioned sim racing. As Dustin Knight is cheering on Shea, and he says, if you ain't first, you're last. And right now, Shea is starting to work his way through the field. That's Shea Cox in the 007 Ford Mustang. Just 5 Toyotas in the field. Everybody else has bow ties and blue ovals on the machines.
Yeah, those Toyotas, I mean, I think they're the most beautiful looking next gen, but not a lot of people really jumping on them. I do think the Dark Horse Mustang here definitely puts a good run for their money as far as style, but all about the same equipment underneath that hood. Oh, as the 20 gets loose coming through that dog leg, does keep it under him for the time being.
Let's take a quick run back as we were just talking about, people getting loose coming out of turn 4 a few laps ago. Here he is coming out of 4. And this is Diego Rodriguez, kisses the wall, and here he goes through the grass. Of course, we want to tip our cap to the incredible video producers here at Sim Racing Media for some of these camera angles. And, of course, you've got me here working the 1s, 2s, and everything in between. And, I look very much forward to Thursday night racing. Of course, you can hang out with me on Sunday nights in prime time with Matt Mettler. And then, of course, again with, contact, between the 41 and the 17. That's Aaron Marquis and Kevin Stone, as they haul it down the backstretch. And getting ready to dance with them is William Schwindenhammer, as now suddenly this becomes a 3-way battle for 15th position. But if you like hanging out with me on a Thursday night, you can come join us on Sunday night in prime time. And then following up on Sunday, we have SNN Xfinity. Whoa!
And that's not going to be safe.
And he points forward. And here comes the caution. Oh, my God. I'm going to stop focusing on any of these drivers tonight.
Yeah, definitely giving the announcer's curse per just camera look instead of even having to say anything.
That's Brendan Maddox here in the 9. Let's see what happens. Now, he's got the 84 of James Malloy. You know what? That almost looked like netcode. I don't think they actually made contact. Let's watch this again. Oh, nope, they did. And the 9
just
ricochets
barely
off the 84. He thought he had it, and then a little bit of netcode coming off the 15. Then the 7 of Jared Haynes gets into the 98 of Andrew Teft, and once Maddox broke out, that was the end for him.
Yeah, and with how much speed he was carrying, really trying to lock it down and keep it down there was really out of the question for him. And, you do your best to try to hold it down there and, not cause anybody else any kind of issues. But, he hits that, bounces up into traffic, and, some guys just kind of have no luck there.
Well, it's going to be wholesale pit stops here as all but the entire field is coming down pit road, led by Bryce Hunter in the 29, Pioneer Chevrolet Camaro. In fact, as I'm watching here, looks like the only driver staying out right now is Matt Schlosser in the 400. So maybe he's trying to flip the script here on everybody else. As Schlosser, he's currently sitting on, there he is. Everybody very confused as Kensley Smith going to sit in box number 1. They get ready to drop the hammer on him. And here comes the 29 of Bryce Hunter off of pit road. And Bryce Hunter will lead everybody off of pit road. So actually, there it is. Schlosser was trying to get his lap back. So that may make him the lucky dog, which should trigger him to be able to come down pit road. I have a new favorite non-alcoholic beverage, if you will. And it is Weiler's Light Strawberry Lemonade. Let me tell you, this is something fancy. Schlosser is going to come around. So here's what Schlosser's probably betting on, and let's just make an assumption here. As we shouldn't even say assumptions. We should just say an educated guess, because we've seen this so many times. I'm curious to know whether or not Schlosser believes that somebody is about to be bit by the cold tire bug here once we get restarted.
Yeah, and you never want to be a cold tire bug. You know, it's definitely nerve-wracking, and having to be the guy to, you know, kind of be the piggyback and send it is definitely going to be a nerve-wracking moment.
Never mind, just kidding. He was the lucky dog, and here comes Schlosser down pit road. So not only was he the only car not on the lead lap, but now he's going to come down pit road. Technically, it's showing him leading the race. If he can suddenly get himself into the pit box and out, he could have accidentally triggered something very scary with the iRacing servers. As Schlosser comes down, the rights go up, the lefts go up. Let's find out where Bryce Hunter is. As now Schlosser coming off of pit road, and they're just getting ready to pass him. I don't understand this.
Yeah,
there's no way
definitely.
that Schlosser is going to be scored the leader.
Yeah, because he's going to probably, based on iRacing, it's going to put him at the tail end of the field still, so he's essentially going to be a lap ahead of everybody.
Right now, Matt Schlosser, yeah, in fact, you're correct. He's almost 2 laps ahead of everybody. He almost has to stop. Otherwise, everybody else is going to get a black flag. In fact, let's check in with our race controller, Anthony Lloyd, who's over here in the race control booth. Hey, Ant, it's Dave over in the broadcast booth. You get a copy. Hey, Anthony, it's Dave over in the booth. You got me. I'm going to go with no. He's probably getting ready to cut his wrists because he's sitting here going, "Oh my God! Now what am I going to do?"
He's definitely got to be on edge right now because it's one of those things that you got to call on the spot, and it's just like it doesn't make any sense.
You know, this is one of those things that iRacing can do sometimes, and it doesn't make sense to those of us in the real world, but you know, it's something to keep in mind.
You know, as the youngins say, it be like that sometimes.
It do be like that sometimes.
It do be like that.
You know who Yamin is, right?
Yamin?
Do you know who Yamin is? Yamin makes the egg rolls down the Hunan Walk.
Oh, jeez. There we go.
His brother Nam Sayin is also down there making the noodles.
This guy going already.
Did you hear? I almost got John once.
I did. I did hear that, and he's not a tough nut to crack. You know, it's. I don't think I've really ever heard him laugh.
Oh no, he laughs. He
laughs, but I don't think I've ever heard him like truly laugh, like like stomach pain laugh.
By the end of the calendar year, I will get him. He doesn't spend enough time in the booth with me. That's his problem.
Well, because he doesn't want to lose. You know, it's a given. Like you spend an hour with the Dave Regal, and you're done for. You're laughing at some point. I think he broke me in the first broadcast with him in I want to say 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get that out of the way early because I knew that you had been warned, and quite frankly, that's not even fair.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sitting here thinking like, no, I got to be professional. I can't laugh. If I laugh, they might fire me.
The
You know,
worst
'cause-
part is, do you know how much fun it is to be the straight man who does play-by-play, and at the same time the court jester who runs around lighting fires just to see what happens?
Of course, because I mean, I'm in the same boat. I love running around setting fires. I might go to jail at some point for it, but you know,
Don't get.
I broke myself.
I'm sitting here thinking of Ronald from Backdraft.
Oh Lord. Oh.
The iRacing.com pace car lights are still on, and there we go. Schlosser finally pulled over. And now we're going to, they figured out how they were going to fix this. So Matt Schlosser has finally pulled over and decided that this is the only way that he's going to do it. So now we've got to wait for the field as we just drift the camera up. They're only just crossing the start-finish line now.
But yeah, he's going to have to just kind of be patient, hang out there. It looks like Mike have triggered the lights to be off now. Trying
They'll
to get a look at
extend the
that pace
caution.
car.
Here goes Schlosser rolling just a little bit as they come out of turn 2. I would almost feel bad if Schlosser has to suddenly get into line and fire on green at the same time, because that gives him a really wild disadvantage because everybody else is at least rolling. And now he's almost got to take the green flag from a dead stop.
Yeah, I mean, he's essentially turning in from a NASCAR driver to a drag racer, having to, you know, kind of wait for that, you know, go on yellow.
Here goes the field passing him. Now, once he gets to about here, he should at least get back on the throttle and get ready to roll again. Here he goes. He's going to go end of the longest line. All that because the poor guy wanted to take a pit stop. The iRacing.com pace car heads on down pit road. Schlosser already in line and back in formation. Bryce Hunter coming out of turn 4 into the quad-oval, drops into the Geico restart zone, hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway finally on lap number 33.
Yeah, and he gets a good jump there at that start. You know, he put already almost about a half a second just off of a good restart there.
Aaron Marquis back here up 4 positions. Right now, your big mover of the race in the positive direction is Jacob Plank right here in the 35 machine. As we take a little closer look here, wow, he is holding on for dear life. He's got Alex Teff behind him, and Shay Cox in the 007 Ford Mustang to the low side here, and the Pioneers Ford Mustang just underneath Alex Teft. And they go side by side, but not so close as they nearly want to talk about touching fenders coming out of 4 and down the back chute.
Yeah, just a little bit of a scary moment there, as it seemed either the 43 turned down or you know, Shay moved a little bit up. You know, either way, they're going for the same kind of real estate, and gets a little sketchy there as Kinsley Smith dives to the inside of the 29 of Bryce Hunter right now.
Kinsley Smith making his move for the lead here on lap number 35. All of a sudden, he's going to work the high side over top of Brandon Zimmerman. Zimmerman looks to the high side now as all of a sudden the 9 of Bryce Hunter shoots underneath Kinsley Smith on 35. He said, "That's my lead. Give me that back." It's almost like Bobby Hill. "That's my purse," as he kicks somebody in the groin, making the pass here in the car.
you.
I
Sorry,
don't
I had
know
to-
you.
Oh,
Great
you.
episode.
You know, it's always great when a show has something that silly that you could just, you know, immediately think of. And you know, I have the habit of throwing out lines from shows that no one's ever seen somehow, and it's one of those you just kind of stand there and you look at them like, I don't have the time to explain to you what it means.
It's not often that I come across somebody who knows the line.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite one is, you know, I watch Letterkenny, and I feel like so many people don't know what Letterkenny is, and it hurts my soul. And, you know, I'll call somebody 10-ply, or, you know, a little bit on that apron there. But, you know, throwing out that pitter patter or you know, calling somebody 10-ply, and everyone's like, I don't get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have yet to come across Letterkenny. I mean, I know of it, but I just haven't had the time to watch it. And to be completely honest, I'm also somebody who, instead of comfort food, I have comfort television shows. As the 8 and the 9 go at it hard here, all of a sudden in this Dale Earnhardt Jr. Bud machine, oh, that nasty urine water from St. Louis, side by side coming through the quad oval is Troy Thomas here. Brendan Maddox holding the high side, kind of a Chase Elliott font there in the Castle IO. They make contact and they are door handle to door handle coming out of 2 and down the back chute.
Yeah, definitely seeing some crazy running here. You know, these guys are going all out, and you know, you're seeing a lot of people getting loose out of this turn 4 area, and it's not surprising because you go to a relatively flat surface, you know, coming out of that banking there, and you don't really have that slight, you know, banking that we do at most tracks, where you're not really going fully flat, so you're not really unsettling the car or loading that right side up as hard. And you know, that seems to be the trouble spot for the night.
Whoa, watch the 9. The 9's trying to get here after the rear end of the 98. Oh, boy. I mean, you have to understand, this race season is the regular season is only 10 weeks long, so what it really does is it turns up the heat on the regular season because now you've only got 10 weeks to try to notch your win and seal the deal for the playoffs. The season altogether is just 15 weeks long. So, in fact, maybe I'm miscounting, but I think it's 15. Maybe it's 16.
You know, whether it's 15 or 16, though, you know, that's considerably shorter than, you know, what the guys in IRL get. You know, so your chances to you know, get in and win and you know, be locked into the playoffs are a lot slimmer. And, you know, you don't have a ton of opportunities, so you really need to be even more consistent with your finishes to just have that points bank to save you.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, with 10 weeks on the regular season, you basically need to be full send all the time. Nearly making contact is the 17 of Kevin Stone on that left rear quarter panel of Diego Rodriguez in the Michigan Wolverines paint scheme. Obviously from up there in Adrian, Michigan, as John salivated on earlier. And, you know, don't get me wrong, seeing somebody from Adrian, Michigan for John is the same as me seeing somebody from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. As we work lap number 43 of 105, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Last pit stop was at lap 27. We should see pit stop somewhere in and around lap 65-ish. At least that's what I'm guessing here. And these drivers, I'll tell you what, one of the things that I notice in the fixed setup leagues is because everybody's car is set up the same, everybody's car starts falling off the same time, so they wind up being able to squeeze a lot more fuel out of these machines and a lot more rubber out of the tires before having to finally come down pit road. As the 17 just slides right on past Diego Rodriguez to the 20. Kensley Smith, your race leader here on lap number 45 at the line, as we are going to be 60 to go next time by.
And, you know, to your point, you know, the fixed setups, you know, it also really, you know, favors the more technical drivers, you know, the guys who know how to save and you know, be very careful in their machines, so that they know how to, you know, prolong it even more, and, you know, maybe be that guy that saves just enough tire more than, you know, say the guy in front of you or behind you to, you know, pull away from him or hold him off.
Well, and in a place like Texas, like, you know, you're doing a little bit of drafting, nothing like you would see at a super speedway or at Atlanta. But, you know, at Texas Motor Speedway, you have the opportunity to do some drafting. And, you know, we're seeing some of that now, a little bit of a side draft here from the 98 over top of the 9. And the 98 trying to take as much off of that. Wow, look at this mess coming for us right here. As they are 3 wide, the 007, the meet in the middle. Almost, there it is, a healthy bump from the 9. Yo, back off before you do something dumb on lap 47.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just sat here and had me just going.
You know, the thing is, whoa, there he goes, the 4 sent down into the grass. He washes back up
my
onto the
goodness.
racetrack. My God, my God.
How he didn't nail that 19 of Curtis Ecker, I do not know, because he was headed right for that corner panel.
We're not far from the Potter's house where TD Jakes preaches, and I'm pretty sure he's got a silk handkerchief to wipe his forehead after that one.
I mean, he might need more than just a wipe on the forehead after that.
Well, hopefully he's got a bidet to clean his shorts out. Getting loose coming out of the corner, that's Aaron Marquis in the 41. He's got the 88 of John Ashby just behind him. Now the 88 Goodwrench Chevrolet chases down Aaron Marquis, and as we're going to go on board here, you know, this just kind of makes the cockles of my heart warm, because as we look from this, and let me just take away that driver info, this is a perfect paint scheme if you're trying to tip your cap to the Intimidator.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, you're even adding in, you know, the later stages of his, you know, son and junior's racing career with the 88. So it's a great a mixture of just the Earnhardt legacy. Oh, it looks like the number 9. Oh my goodness. Oh, number. Oh, you need to keep off these cameras.
Gives it just a little. Whoa! You'll have to forgive me, my microphone was muted, so we're going to go right back here to the beginning of this replay. We saw Andrew Teft here in the 98 give a little bit of a love tap here to the 9. There it is, and the 9 should have gotten out of the way, but he didn't. He held his ground and gets spun out of the way by a little bit of net code. As he's drifting down the racetrack, the 88 just comes and finishes the job at full speed. I mean, listen, we were riding along with John Ashby at that moment, and this is basically what we saw from our perspective. Here it is from the roof of John Ashby coming into 1. Now we know that the wreck is happening ahead. He's off the throttle. Oh.
Yeah, and I mean, from his perspective, all he's thinking is, the only chance I have is if I hold it wide open and just hope that he stays up there a lot longer than I anticipated.
Well, and now everybody's going to come down pit road for pit service once again, as everybody going to be on that same pit cycle. Fortunately, many of these drivers, of course, have that fast repair in their pocket, so even as a driver like Alan Bergen, who's down a lap, Alan, I'm going to choke him. If he stays out here because he wants to lead a lap, I'm going to choke him. I'm going to physically reach through the screen, and I'm going to grab him by the throat.
I mean, we
Alan,
can take
if you're
a quick
listening to
trip.
the broadcast next to your computer, get your butt down on pit road now.
Let's see what happens.
By now, he should have heard it. That gives him plenty of time to... Come on, drift to the left,
You can do it, buddy.
Yeah.
You can do it, buddy.
He sees the Sunoco sign.
Just Well,
Alan Bergen's going to be your race leader.
well, you know, at least he's living up to that Cowboy's name. Disappointing.
Yep, all kinds of flair here in the beginning of the race, just enough to fizzle out at the end. As we have now crossed the halfway point and we're at 53 laps.
Oh, buddy. He's not going to live this down from me at all.
I swear to you, as I take a sip from my beverage cup, I swear to you, I just had a conversation with him the other day about, you know, staying out when everybody else comes in. And I realize what he's trying to do, and I get it. But All he does is make himself into a sitting duck.
Quack, quack.
To be fair, he drinks Anheuser-Busch products, so he's not really playing with a full deck.
Hey, I mean, at least I'm on the other side of the farm there and prefer to have a nice Miller.
Well, you know what? At least Miller, I like Miller High Life. I do. I'm not a big fan of the MGD because I think it's preposterous that you would just call it something by its initials. Okay, he's got one more opportunity to come on down pit road. I'm texting him. Alan Bergen is getting an angry text from the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth.
He's probably muted you at this point now because he's just like, I don't want to be yelled at. And he knows that he's getting yelled at.
The words I just sent to him were in all capital letters with 4 exclamation points at the end. I think he gets the message.
But the thing is, he may get the message, but is it received?
Well, you can lead a horse to water, but you certainly can't make him drink Budweiser. Oh, see, there it goes again. It's like a reflex is what I have going on here.
More like a reflux.
Yeah. You know what? I can't even... I refuse to drink that junk.
I mean, exactly what you said. It's junk. It gives it tastes terrible.
Do you know why it's called Budweiser? It was a marketing ploy because it sounded German. It has nothing to do with any place in Germany. Also, do you know why Pabst Blue Ribbon is Pabst Blue Ribbon?
I don't know, but it's good.
It's not bad, I'll give you that. Pabst Blue Ribbon, as Alan Bergen going to have control of the field. We'll get to that in just a moment as he's got that blue star in the front from the 5-time Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys in the Geico restart zone. He has a nice, gentle restart here, but he has a pack of angry Hornets behind him. And this, whoa, easy there, big fella. Let's watch him tumble down through the standings. He just had his doors blown off by the 65, literally everybody else and their cousin.
Yeah, he basically got told that he he needs to move.
That was almost a game of Frogger for the rest of the field.
I mean, this is very relative to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they were up at top and looking great, and then they just falter all the way down as he almost gets to the wall. You watch him drop down the standings.
Brandon Zimmerman back to your race lead here in the 65. He's up 8 spots from where he began. But right now, the big story right now is Jacob Plank up 23 after starting back in 25th position, dead last, drove through all of the traffic, and now sits P2 just ahead of Kensley Smith. It goes Zimmerman, Plank, Smith, Teft, Hunter, Cox, Hoke, Haynes, Kane, and Marquis. As we haul it here on 57 into turn 3 and 4, coming out, into 1 and 2, coming out of turn 2 and down the back chute, Brandon Zimmerman leads Jacob Plank by just under 0.2 of a second. So here's the deal with Pabst Blue Ribbon. What do you do? First off, they never won an award. But what happens when you do win an award? What do they give you?
They give you a blue ribbon.
So they took little blue ribbons and tied them to the top of every bottle of Pabst Blue Ribbon. Real silk blue ribbons. So that when you were reaching into a cooler for a new beer, you would grab what looked like an award-winning beer. And they called it Pabst Blue Ribbon. And for a long time, there were physically blue ribbons around the neck of every bottle.
That's wow. Like that's like why did they ever stop these things? Because like these are things that like would still be marketing genius stuff now.
Because now people have too much access to too much information, and they realize that it's all BS. Oh, they didn't really win a blue ribbon, and all of a sudden they'd be canceling the beer instead of selling billions of gallons of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is why do we got to cancel stuff? Let's just let it be.
Just let it be. Let it be.
Let it be. Let it be.
To the high side here goes Kensley Smith as he gets out of the way of the 29 and the 43 of Alex Teft. So obviously Kensley Smith trying to save a little bit here. We're going to go on board as he basically is just going to watch Hunter and Teft drive away from him for the time being. Obviously he's trying to save some tire here. He knows he's got 55 laps to go here at the line in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight as we take a quick peek here at the youtube.com live chat. Looks like Alan was, Lee RC60 says Alan is going rogue. Julia gives a heart to the 43. That's Alex Teft. And right now, Kensley Smith here in the 15 running in 5th position. So everybody's starting to calm down now as we're getting, it's almost like everybody has now settled in and realized this is about to be a nice long green flag run. And the fly in the ointment is going to be, unfortunately, our partner here at Sim Racing Media, Alan Bergen, who's going to have to come in early and get pit service while everybody else is going to be green flag racing.
Yeah, and he's definitely going to lose a ton of time there, and he's going to go 1, if not 1.5 to almost 2 laps down there.
For the record, Alan didn't even read the message.
I'm not surprised at all. He's hiding from you.
Coming out of turn 2 and getting ready to go down the back chute is William Schwindenhammer here in the 71. He gets just ahead of the 41 of Aaron Marquis. Marquis having no choice but to watch Schwindenhammer just slide on by. And a lot of these drivers right now are in sail mode where they're kind of getting into somewhat of clean air. You know, right now the 23 it's disturbed up in front of him, and believe me, you've got to be disturbed to be, going too crazy here too early at Texas. But, some of the air disturbed in front of Jason Burdick, but overall, he's got kind of a nice little lull between himself and Andrew Teft in the 98. There's about 0.8 of a second, and it's when you hit that 0.7 of a second mark on most super speedways and draft tracks that all of a sudden those RPMs start to creep up as you get in the draft of the car in front of you. Jacob Plank now with just a little bit more than 0.1 of a second lead over Brandon Zimmerman as Zimmerman gets ready here to slide in behind him as we're going to go on board with the helmet cam of Brandon Zimmerman. Let's take a look here and see what he does as now he just wants to match Jacob Plank step for step as we roll out of turn 4.
Yeah, and just matching somebody is a great way to, one, learn how they're running and figure out how they're able to be in front of you, but also learning how you can possibly save better and run possibly a better line that you may have not been running well to begin with. So it's definitely an easy way to learn just by being there.
Now Zimmerman kind of got out of line with Plank for just a few moments, and it was enough that all of a sudden that less than 0.2 of a second now becomes 0.3 of a second as they roll out of turn 4 and back onto the front stretch. So an interesting lap so far for Brandon Zimmerman. Let's take a look here at the time differential between these two drivers. When Zimmerman was really attached to that rear bumper of the dark horse in front of him, he was about 0.006 of a second faster on 62, 0.03 of a second on 64, and as soon as he stepped out of line, which we were on board for, all of a sudden he starts running a little bit slower of a lap time right here on lap number 68. Of course, the track temperature still staying nice and low here, 87 degrees. It's actually warmer on the asphalt than it is in the stands right now, which probably not a bad thing if you're there. Maybe go out and grab a beer, some brisket.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely sitting here going, oh, I need a mini fridge down here because I need a beer.
Now, trust me, I get it. I do. I would much prefer to have it in an IV bag hanging above me with a needle in my arm.
This sounds wonderful, in my opinion.
Life goals. The 55 of Truth Hope gets right underneath the 43. The double nickel trying to challenge Alex Teft here in the Advent Health Toyota Camry. All of a sudden, Truth Hope slides in single file And, you know, at this point, a lot of these battles here on the racetrack have gotten more strung out than the line outside of a methadone clinic. These drivers trying to keep it nice and simple here with 35 laps to go at the line.
I didn't even know where to go after that.
That's my job. Go ahead. Nothing? You got nothing? That's fine. Listen, here all of a sudden we go from nice and simple to side by side down the front chute. All of a sudden, Shay Cox in the 007 decides he's going to go rogue and look to the low side now of the double nickel Wrangler machine of Truth Hoke. And Shay Cox making it look easy to get around Hoke. And Hoke is one of those drivers that we see all season long being very tough to pass. All of a sudden, though, Shay Cox just manages to, really throw it to him there as he gets around him. Now the 4 machine of Dennis Kane gets ready to slide on past. So maybe it's that girl from the TikTok saying sometimes you just got to give it the old yeah.
That's been a thing all day between me and my dad, just saying that for no reason at all.
No reason at all. You don't even need to prep it with anything.
Now, I've seen, I think my favorite is, it was mixed into a song by Saliva called Click Click Boom, and it was just click click hot tour.
Ah, yes, the internet. What would we do without it? Can you imagine the horror? Like if you were one of the people that helped to invent the internet, 40 years ago, can you imagine the horror that they feel knowing the trash that is floating around in cyberspace?
Yeah, I mean, they probably just assumed it would be like a, not necessarily like an in-home thing at the beginning. It was just for work and, business, and then it became in-home and, thought it was just going to be just mild and calm, and now it's everywhere. I mean, you carry a computer with you daily.
Yeah, I can only imagine that those people back in the day were thrilled just to be able to send email to one another saying, does this work? Can you read this? Confirm that you've received this. But now it's, some girl in, Bullfart, Arkansas that's going, "Huh-tuh," and being famous. And here comes Alan Bergen down pit road as he has decided to take the early turn. Aaron Marquis doing the same thing. So they're going to go down a lap, and Bergen has taken the long way to pit road. Here he finally comes. 3, 2, 1. On down for his pit services. Bergen started back in 24th position, so he's not going to have a long time before he slides into pit road. Let's take a watch here. It almost sounds like he's got the engine off. No, it's on. Right sides go up. Slam. Jacob Plank, your race leader, and of course now Bergen's going to be down a lap, but he's got the fresh tires as he fires off a pit road. So Alan Bergen finally comes down pit road after a very long time. For reasons I'm not quite sure of, nearly 50 laps on that tank. Now, the interesting thing there, and I'll give him this, he can stay out now. If this race goes green, everybody else has to come in for pit service, and Alan Bergen sets himself up for the W.
Yeah, 100%. But, if we try to understand the mind of Alan Bergen, we'll be here all night long.
I do not have the qualifications. Oh, Bergen's now down 3 laps, so this could be interesting. That's my boy. I love him to death. All of a sudden, side by side is Brandon Zimmerman and Bryce Hunter, as Hunter slides on by. Zimmerman taking 3rd position now. We're going to have to start watching some of these battles as some of the tires are starting to give up, and the guys who were saving their tires now able to start making a march forward as the 84 of James Malloy gets to the low side of the 55 of Truth Hope. 79 laps in the books. Jacob Plank, your race leader, now with a nice healthy 2.66 second lead over Bryce Hutter, who holds off Brandon Zimmerman by about 0.3 of a second. One of the other close battles here on the track belongs between Andrew Teft and James Malloy. Teft here in the 98 machine looks to the rear of Malloy, and now he's trying to find his way around. So it's one of those situations where you can get up there, but passing him is a completely different ball game, as the 84 now gets just up against the door panel of the 55 and now brings along Andrew Teft, as they're both going to steal away that 11th position from the 55 if they can still manage to get around him.
Yeah, and that right there from the 84 shows just how aero-dependent these cars are. You know, he got right up to that quarter panel and really, into the door of that 55, was able to really pull himself past him.
Kevin Stone wants to do the same thing here in the NC811.org Ford Mustang, as he now gets to the inside of the 55. Obviously, he saw the blueprint that Teft and Malloy laid down to get around Hoke, and now Hoke having to hold off the 17. This is going to be dangerous, as we're just starting to edge closer to that 20 to go mark. Wow, loose coming out of 4 is the 17. Kensley Smith comes down pit road in the 15.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to start seeing these guys make that hard left turn, just as if they're a pace car, to run down here, get tires, get fuel, and then basically set sail for these last couple of laps.
Coming into pit box number 1 is Kensley Smith. He was your pole sitter earlier. Now he comes in 18th position. He's going to drop down a lap, but that's not going to be for long, as we now watch the left sides go up. 2 more fresh Mr. Goodyears on there, and off we go as Kensley Smith rolls off in P number 18 and gets back onto the racing surface. Jacob Plank, though, here in the 35, rolls out of turn 4, still with a full head of steam. Let's take a look here at the old dashboard. And I mean, he's running on his own 184 miles per hour into the corner, which is just something incredible after knowing that he's been out there since lap number 51. So 33 laps on these tires. As he rolls out of 2 and comes down the back chute, he's going to hit somewhere in and around 180. So he was 177 before coming into 3.
Yeah, and I mean, he's definitely putting on a clinic right now, just really stepping away from these guys. And I almost wonder if, he just came into this stint and just knew, I'm going to have to, pit anyway. So if I just give everything that I possibly have and, pull a good bit of time from these guys, I can give myself a considerable gap that, I might not have to make up as much time, to get around these guys and really have to worry about fighting for that position back, as hard as if they were to all pit, relatively close to each other.
Taking a look at Dennis Kane and now Bryce Hutter holding off Alex Teft in the 43. Hutter having to get around the lap car. That's Aaron Marquis in the Bass Pro Shops tracker machine. He looks behind him and he can see Alex Teft in the rearview mirror getting ready to start harassing him, as they all are starting to get loose on turn 2 and 4 exit. Bryce Hutter here in the 9. Of course, he's supposed to be marked in the 29. We'll have to make mention of that to the admins here, but that's for another time and another situation, as the 41 loose as a goose here coming out of 4 and into the quad oval. 19 laps to go at Texas Motor Speedway. Dave Riegel and Jordan Brockel with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight as we take a quick peek here at the live chat. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, as we're just a few people away from hitting that 4,000 mark, where, of course, Alan Bergen going to finally come to the altar and have himself a nice Yingling lager instead of the trash out of St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need to bring that man to Jesus and get him to try as a much better beer. I mean, even just switching to, like I said, Miller. I mean, that's at least a step up.
Look, I drink Miller when it's around, if I have to, and it's a nice middle ground beer. The Anheuser-Busch people, they are just a juggernaut.
Yeah, I mean, you can chalk up 90% of their fame, in my opinion, simply because of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I mean, most of the people that I see drinking it are, country folk, rednecks drinking Budweiser and Bud Light, but you don't see the fancy, exquisite people drinking it.
Did you ever hear the story about Dale Jr. and Budweiser?
Oh, is it the Dale Earnhardt story?
Yeah, where, they were going to a Budweiser function, and it was right after he had signed the Bud deal. And, he said to his dad, he goes, I don't really even drink beer. And his dad goes, well, you do now, son.
And now look at him. He talks about how he's like, I love beer.
He is just, first of all, one of the most, as famous as Dale Earnhardt Jr. is, a very approachable human being. We nearly crossed paths down in Miami last October, and I was only about 3 feet from him when the PR people said, okay, that's enough autographs. But I mean, he made sure that everybody he was signing something for, he had a quick conversation with.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly, aside from, everybody gives him, crap that he's famous because of his father and all that, and it has a little bit to do with it, but for the most part, like, he's just a down-to-earth, genuine, just backwoods kind of people, like 90% of us that watch NASCAR. So as Teft gets on that, was that Teft? No, it was not Teft. Yeah, it was Alex Teft right there on that white line, got a little bit loose there.
The paint around these racetracks, you don't think it's that slippery, but it absolutely is, and they make sure that all of those lines are fresh before every event. And, the one time I was down on pit road at Miami Homestead, I managed to get, right onto the front stretch, and that paint is just icy slick.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost guess that they probably go down there and slap some Crisco on it just to cause a little bit more of chaos.
I thought they would have that Sherwin-Williams shark grip or whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I thought that they would have something like that mixed in with it, and it maybe they did, but I couldn't tell. And I can only imagine what it feels like at 170 miles per hour when you're just pirouetting helplessly down the front stretch.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine you're trying to do some kind of, slide down a snowbank, and all of a sudden it drops 90 feet down. That's how that feels when they touch that paint and turn sideways. He drifts way up the track.
Drivers having to start getting ready to make those really hard decisions as Kevin Stone drops from 8th place and now comes down pit road. Bryce Hunter has to make a choice, and here he is making said choice. That allows Alan Bergen to move on by and get a lap back, as now that cycles Dennis Kane to the race lead. This is suddenly going to be an interesting decision time here, because everybody, here that's leading came down about the same time between lap 51 and 52. Now, oddly enough, Alan Bergen driving past Dennis Kane. If he can hold it steady here, he's going to get another lap back.
Yeah, so I mean, he's...
remember that time I said about holding it steady? Just kidding. Oh, my. This is going to be an interesting race finish, because now you've got some of these drivers that are just 2 laps back. I mean, including Alan here in the 00. Dennis Kane, your race leader, ahead of Alex Teft with Alan in the middle. It sounds like a terrible CBS sitcom coming your way this fall. Alan in the middle.
Alan in the middle.
But Dennis Kane leads this race here. Alex Teft running P2, about 1.25 seconds between them. Shea Cox running in P3. Andrew Teft, Troy Thomas, Jason Burdick, and Kirby Wainscott, your top 7 all on the lead lap. As things are starting to kind of come together here at the end with 9 laps to go from Texas Motor Speedway. Alan Bergen now holding up the 15 of Kensley Smith. It's almost like he knows he's got to hold Kensley Smith up just a little while longer, because Smith now sits ready to take back that lap that he lost after he came down pit road. The thing is, does Dennis Kane truly believe that he's got enough fuel to get to the end?
Yeah, and I mean he's definitely going to be thinking about it the entirety of this last 8 laps here. You know, you're always looking down at that gauge. You know, just praying that it stops moving as fast as it may be.
I want to ride along with Dennis Kane here out of Detroit, Michigan with 7 to go at the line. I just want to hear him cut the engine. Nope. Nope, he's not even clutching.
No, but he's definitely getting on the gas almost out of the corner and not really. I mean, if he adds the clutching to that, since he's already not getting on the gas, you know, adds a little bit of clutching to that, might definitely save himself a good bit.
Well, he's pretty much made his bed, has Dennis Kane, as he's up 15 spots after qualifying P16. He leads Alex Teft by 2.2 seconds. That lead has actually gotten bigger. Alex Teft running in P2 with Shea Cox in P3. I mean, I thought maybe, I thought Alan Bergen was going to make a run here for the lead lap, but that's apparently not going to happen. I got excited for a minute.
I mean,
6 laps to go, 5 at the line as they roll out of turn number 4. Diego Rodriguez getting his lap back the old-fashioned way. And with 5 laps to go, Dennis Kane is literally gambling with his gas.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things that if it pays off, you're a winner. If not, I mean, he could quickly drop down the leaderboard depending on, what lap he does run out.
No, call it like it is. If you're right, you're a winner. If you're not, you're a loser. It happens.
Exactly, and I mean that's the whole thing about racing is you got to pull some rabbits out of the hat every once in a while.
Dennis Kane, your race leader with 4 laps to go. Shea Cox and the 007 James Bond machine runs in P2 with Alex Teft in 3rd. 4 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway for the Racers Elite Nextgen Cup Series. Dave Riegel and, wow, my goodness. Did you just see that time switch? Hold on a second. Here it comes. Look at this battle suddenly brewing. Dave Riegel and Jordan Brockel with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as I have to quick regather myself. My God. It's not often that you leave me speechless, but there I am, Andrew Teft letting everybody slide on past. With 3 laps to go, Dennis Kane last coming in on lap number 51. He, Andrew Teft, Alex Teft, Shea Cox, literally everybody through your top 7 last came down on lap 51. With 2 laps to go, the popsicle sticks are in the air.
Yeah, and at this point right now with 2 laps left, I'm going to start looking here at Troy Thomas and Kirby Wainscott. They're around 2 more laps fresher tires and more of a fuel load. So if he does have an issue, I look for Andrew Teft and Alex Teft to have an issue as well, and then possibly the Troy Thomas and Kirby Wainscott sitting in 4th and 5th could make a run for him.
Well, they can make a run all they want, but right now with the white flag in the air, the popsicle sticks are down, and we're racing back to checkers. Dennis Kane gambling pays off right now, as right now he sees that's the 9 machine of Bryce Hunter getting around him. That'll move him into 11th position. But with the white flag in the air, 51 laps, that makes this a 54-lap run for Dennis Kane after coming down on 51. It's going to be Dennis Kane here at the line as he rolls out of turn number 4. That car has to be screaming for fuel. And Dennis Kane gambles and hits on the checkers to win here at Texas Motor Speedway. He's followed by Alex Teft in the 43 and Andrew Teft in the 98. Troy Thomas, Jacob Plank, Kirby Wainscott, Brandon Zimmerman, Jason Burdick, Kensley Smith, and Diego Rodriguez round out your top 10.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis Kane basically he waited for the river card and ends up getting it, and cashing out a big payday there.
He sure does, and it was an absolute Texas Hold'em festival coming into this final lap. Maybe Dennis Kane's even out of fuel by now.
Oh, it looks like I think Alan's going to give him a push.
Dennis Kane has he's at 3. Yeah, he has no RPMs. Wait. Can he get the car fired? Nope, he's got nothing. He
Nothing.
literally
I mean,
ran it to nothing.
Yeah, he didn't even have enough to burn it down.
Oh,
Geez, Alan. Alan gave him a hell of a shove.
look, if
We're
you're
gonna
going to
have
get a push, it might as well be from another good race car driver in the form of Alan Bergen. But let's go ahead and see if we can get Dennis Kane here in the broadcast booth, as I got to go fetch everybody. The Teft brothers are going to come in here to the waiting room. Actually, all of these guys are from Chicken Coop Racing tonight, so Chicken Coop Racing sweeping the podium. And now, with absolutely no fuel left in the 4 machine, Dennis Kane, it's Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy, listen, wow. You squeezed this thing to death, and here you are in victory lane, or well, being pushed down pit lane for the time being by Alan Bergen. Congratulations on the gamble.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, it was. I thought I could make it, and then it got like down to about 10 laps to go, and I had to start saving. But yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. I thought we had a fast ride. I thought we were running top 5 anyway, somewhere in there. And then we just had enough gas, so it was pretty cool.
I can't believe that you had enough fuel to get to the end. I mean, we were sitting here and we're watching, the other drivers that came down on 51, 52, 53, and obviously 52 was the real magic number. But you and Alex Teft both came down on 51 the last time. I mean, this race car was on rails in the latter part of this race. What on earth did you do? Obviously it's a fixed setup, so you were basically doing creature comfort adjustments. What were you able to do to, try to save that fuel?
Just the way I was entering the corner. I don't know if you noticed on the broadcast, I was taking a real sharp entry into it, kind of trying to slow down, back it up early, and I think it kind of naturally saved me some gas and made me pretty fast on the long run as well.
Yeah, we noticed that you were holding off, on exit, getting onto the throttle so hard, so obviously trying to use as much momentum as you could to roll the corner. You did a heck of a job tonight, obviously punching your ticket to the playoffs here in this season. What's going to be the strategy now as we move a little bit deeper here into the year? And, of course, next week we go on up to Pocono here in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, man. First win of the season, baby, playoff bound. Just keep having good finishes. There's there's going to be a few tracks, and I'm just going to have to take what I can get. Hopefully squeeze out some top 10s. Competition out here is tough. But there's a few, especially on the Nextgen schedule, a few tracks that I really got my eyes on again. So I'm really hoping to have a good season this year.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on the first win of the season. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to tip your cap to, and who helps you get it done on the 4 machine?
Hey, man, I just want to give thanks to everybody involved. Chicken Coop Racing, SRM, Racers Elite. Just so appreciative of everyone who comes out and races with us, man. And, hey, let's keep it going.
All right, buddy. That is the voice of Dennis Kane, winner tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway. And I believe, I don't know where he went, but apparently Jordan has decided that he's out. And next here on our podium tonight going to be Alex Teft, one of 2 drivers from Hope Valley, Rhode Island. Hey, Alex, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, listen, great run tonight. Obviously, you and Dennis and your brother Andrew were able to squeeze the fuel tonight. What were you doing to try to, save fuel here in the latter part of this race?
Well, I'm one of the people that just stays in 5th through around the whole track. I don't do any of the downshifting in turn 1 like some people like to do. But I was just really focusing on backing up the corners, which I do for the most part anyway, to try to save the tires for the long run. But you just kind of overemphasize the early entry and try just drafting people as much as I could, and then just really focusing on getting on the gas, as soft as I could when I'm getting back on in the middle of the corner and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, drafting obviously is a big deal here at Texas Motor Speedway. You get within that 0.7 of a second gap, and all of a sudden you don't need near as much throttle, and you were able to master that tonight. Next week, we head on up here to the Tricky Triangle in my neck of the woods at Pocono. And what's going to be the mindset? I mean, Pocono's got 3 very distinct turns, very, unique racing, and very technical to get around that piece.
Yeah, pretty much. The goal is just, if you're going to have one bad corner, just make sure it's not turn 3, because you need that good run off that corner to get the speed down the straightaway. If not, you're just going to be, hemorrhaging time at each lap. For the most part, I want to say I've run fairly well there throughout, the history of this league, but we'll just have to wait and see until then.
All right, man. Well, listen, before we cut you loose, who helps you get it done on the 43 team, and who do you need to shout out tonight?
Definitely the league, Racers Elite, all these, got a good thing going on right now. A bunch of new guys in this series, and it's going pretty well so far. Definitely want to thank you guys over at Sim Racing Media for putting on these broadcasts all the time. Thank the fans that watch in every week, and my friends and my fiance.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, that is going to conclude us for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Teft finishing P2 tonight on the podium. Thank you, Alex.
Yep, thank you.
And last but certainly not least, here in the Racers League Cup Series, finishing P3 tonight on the podium is Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Andrew Teft out of Hope Valley, Rhode Island. Hey, Andrew, it's Dave. You got me?
Hey, Dave.
Man, listen, what a run tonight. I mean, listen, the race itself was incredible. I mean, you finished it in darn near record time, at least from my perspective. A little bit of a hiccup with, timing and scoring early on, but, once that got out of the way, it seemed like everybody really found their groove here at Texas.
Yeah, Matt was issued a penalty in error, I believe, if I recall, and they tried to give him his lap back, and it just kind of messed things up. So we had to do a couple extra pace laps there, but was kind of cutting through the pack early, saving some tire. Was pretty good on the long run, and then got caught up with a 9 there. Had to use my fast repair, so just kind of worried for the rest of the race. But I got tangled up with him again. Turned him as he was coming across my nose, and got the EOL penalty, so I had to start from the rear again. And I figured, what the heck, might as well top off and see if I can play some fuel strategy if I'm back here anyway. And it kind of worked out. Just ran out of gas off of turn 4, and my brother was able to nab me there. That's the only thing I'm disappointed about.
I mean, it's bragging rights in the family, I mean, I was watching Dennis and your brother and you, and I was starting to, I realized that, you were the last one to come in for that splash of fuel. And, it was incredible to watch Dennis come across the line. He all of a sudden runs out of fuel. Obviously, you did too. And I don't think I've ever seen Texas become such a crazy fuel mileage race. And, some drivers really gave it their all tonight. And I think that that's something that you can put as a feather in your cap in this league. These drivers are like mad scientists because, you're out there and you're trying to outwit everybody and outskill everybody because it is that fixed setup format. And to me, that makes the racing so much more exciting from at least up here in the broadcast booth, and I'm sure on the broadcast itself.
Yeah, definitely. The way fuel capacity and the tires work out, there's always the opportunity to pull some kind of wild strategy, it seems like. So, if you got an off-handling car, or it's just not your best track, you can always try to pull off something a different way.
All right, man. You'll have to forgive me. Thank God I could mute my microphone. All of a sudden, I just swallowed water down the wrong tube. But before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank? Who helps you get it done on the 98 and, of course, here in the Racers Elite Cup Series?
Yeah, my team. Congrats to Dennis. That's awesome. I think he's got multiple wins in the Nextgen series now, so seems to be his series. Really happy for him. My family for letting me play. You guys for broadcasting. Everybody that tunes in to watch and shows up to race. And if anybody's interested in checking us out, just head on over to racerselite.com. You can find Discord invites, standings, schedules, the whole 9 yards. Just get in touch with me. We'll get you set up.
All right, my man. Well, listen, we really appreciate your partnership with us here at Sim Racing Media. I know that this has quickly become my favorite race to call of the week, and I appreciate everything that you do. So congrats here on the P3 finish. We'll see you next week at Pocono.
Yeah, we love having you. Thank you.
Well, folks, another one in the books here in the Racers Elite Cup Series as we finish out the night here at Texas Motor Speedway. Dennis Kane captures the checkered flag, and I'll tell you what, it was just an incredible finish for him as he ran out of fuel at the last possible second. He is joined on the podium by Alex Teft and Andrew Teft, the Teft brothers out of Hope Valley, Rhode Island. They finished second and third. Troy Thomas finishes in fourth with Jacob Plank rounding out the top five. Sixth position goes to Kirby Wainscott, while Brandon Zimmerman comes home in seventh. Jason Burdick, Kensley Smith, and Diego Rodriguez round out your top 10. Bryce Hunter and Truth Hoke finish 11th and 12th, with Jared Haynes and James Malloy in 13th and 14th. Paul Shaw comes home in 15th, with Aaron Marquis and Shay Cox coming home in 16th and 17th. 18th position goes to Kevin Stone, while William Schwindenhammer and Alan Bergen round out your top 20. Matt Schlosser comes home in 22nd, John Ashby in 23rd, Brandon Maddox in 24th, and finishing last in the field is Marshall Harris in 25th. So, folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, making us a part of your evening here on Sim Racing Media. If you haven't done so already, please make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. We want to thank you week after week for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. So for myself, Dave Regal, my broadcast partner, Jordan Brockel, tonight, and of course, everybody here at Sim Racing Media, thanks for tuning in. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.